Hello, beautiful souls. Thank you so much for joining in. It's Sunday morning. I'm excited. Today is the day I'm officially launching NARN, the Neo-Advaita Recovery Network. First support meeting is today. And something very, I'm tempted, not so much special, but something very important happened this morning. Hi to my live viewer. And I'm grateful to talk about it a little bit. Someone who's interested in coming to in a sense as well, sent me two emails. One of them says, this, that, this equals that. Anything I add is confusion. And they also wrote, the feeling of separation is the beginning of the journey, not the end goal. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my boundaries with non-duality. And actually, this is really important to clarify what Neo-Advaita Recovery Network does and what these meetings are about. So my personal boundaries with non-duality is I don't engage in any form of non-dual discussion with anyone other than my guru. I have a traditional Advaita Vedanta guru, and if I have non-dual questions, I go to him. And I don't do any non-dual talk, such as this. I recently met someone, and they said something about, like, let's say their name is John. Their name's not John. They're actually, I just recently met a John who's into non-duality. So let's say their name is George. And George said, hey, let's, this character George, and something else along those lines. And I just let them know very clearly, hey, it's okay with, they said the character George and the character Arthur can get together and talk about their characters. And I just said, I actually interrupted him and I said, it's okay with me if you see yourself as a character. It's okay with me if you see me as a character. And I am completely unavailable to have any kind of conversation that uses such non-dual concepts. I don't think I'm a character. I don't think you're a character. They're kind of like character in a play or character in a story. I see myself as real. I see you as real. I'm not saying this to try to convert you. This is what I said to the person. I'm not saying this to try to convert you or change you. I'm just letting you know what I'm available for and what's true for me. And he was very respectful. I really appreciate that. This person really heard me. And so, to the person who reached out to me, so let's see. Separation is the beginning of the journey and not the end goal. I never said the feeling of separation was, I don't know what that means. I never said on this channel that the feeling of separation is the end goal. I did share about Vishta Advaita, another school, qualified non-duality, another school which is related. Well, actually, before I go there, so this is really important because the work I do here on this channel and the support groups are 1,000%. Hey, Marion. Love your comment. We'll respond in a moment. So the work I do, so I'm not a non-duality teacher, and I do not accept any non-dual teachings from anyone who's not a lineaged guru. And maybe this person is, and they just haven't told me. I don't think that they are. But that's how I roll. That's part of how I've recovered from Neo-Advaita. 100%, I'm not available for it. And I will respond. I interrupt people and I respond with what I believe. And that's been part of my, and I just stay clear of Neo-Advaita teachers and Neo-Advaita teaching. And in my view, any teaching on the topic of non-duality not done by a lineage teacher is Neo-Advaita. That's the definition that I've come up with for myself that works for me. So these meetings are about people of all beliefs and no beliefs. Some of them may be on a traditional non-dual path. Some people may have put aside non-duality. I've met people who've lost their absolute faith in God and in life because of Neo-Advaita and basically become atheists because of the harm of Neo-Advaita. Everyone's welcome to these meetings. The meetings are, I actually have a very strict rule: no non-dual teaching during the meetings. The sentiments that this person shared to me are actually not welcome in the meeting. This is a support group where people can talk about themselves. And Marion said it very beautiful. She put in the comment, "Hi, we're not characters. We're human beings being human." That's what these meetings are all about, is helping people relearn how to be human, how to talk and think without a constant reference to non-dual concepts. Now, it might be difficult for some people who are on a traditional non-dual path. These meetings may or may not work for you. It's basically talking about your human feelings and experiences. And the confusion that Neo-Advaita and pain and suffering that Neo-Advaita has wreaked into our lives. So this person and so I've been talking about things. Now, to the person who wrote out to me, I completely honor that's your belief, and completely honor that's your path, and something I said inspired you to say this. And I don't remember saying the feeling of separation is the beginning of journey, not the end goal. I don't remember. I'm not sure what that's referring to. And I'm just honestly not interested in engaging. I just don't engage in discussions about non-duality other than with my guru or another lineage teacher. I don't believe the feeling of separation. I personally follow Vishta Advaita. So my view, I'm not doing this to preach or teach to anyone. You shared your view. I'm going to share my view. My view is Vishta Advaita, in essence, well, it's more from the school Achinta Beta Beta, says that the relationship between this and that, between God and creation, between the supreme and the individual soul, is oneness, yet distinction. You may notice my hands are not merged. Advaita Vedanta says creator, creation, completely merged. No distinction. I don't believe that's true, and I also just don't follow that path. But it's okay if you do follow a traditional Advaita path. I'm just not interested. So let's see. Marion wrote, taken to the nth degree, Neo-Advaita destroys language and the ability to converse in a meaningful way. Yes, and Marion, you're my angel. Marion showed up during many of these live discussions and always just expresses things very directly and clearly. So that's part of what the recovery process is learning how to talk and think in just in regular terms. And that's why I'm being very firm with this person and very firm in the meeting. It's like, you go to Alcoholics Anonymous to learn how to live without drinking. Well, Neo-Advaita Recovery Network, come to our meetings and this channel to learn how to live without thinking, specifically Neo-Advaita thinking, or constantly thinking about non-dual concepts. I'm just going to read what Marion wrote again because it's so true. Neo-Advaita destroys language and the ability to converse in a meaningful way. My experience of Neo-Advaita is it's like an addiction. And people have written to me about this. Recently, someone wrote to me about intrusive thoughts, that they literally can't stop non-dual thoughts. And the non-dual thoughts were actually attacking them. Like the world isn't real and and all sorts of, they literally, it becomes a compulsion. And that's why I'm being so firm about, my personal, also my personal time, energy, and attention, but also the meetings. It's for people who want to recover from the compulsion. And, in the meetings, I don't speak out against traditional Advaita Vedanta. I consider it a very valid path, not my path. As I've said, I don't believe it's the ultimate truth, but that's just me. I'm just a guy. But I don't push or present that in the meetings. I only state that if someone says such things to me. Now, the person also wrote, this, that, this equal that. Anything I add is confusion. It's okay with me if that's how you approach life. That's not how I approach life. And actually, traditional Advaita has a very different approach. Traditional Advaita talks about this and that. They call it Purusha and Prakriti, or Brahman and creation. It talks about the this and that. And here's where I'm not trying to go off on this person, but here's where I really take issue with what this person wrote to me, is Advaita Vedanta is a systematic process of the recognition that this equals that. That's where Advaita Vedanta ends. It starts with that and it ends with that. But in the middle, it doesn't really focus on that. It doesn't focus on the this equals that. It's a process that leads people to see directly. And this goes to what Marian said. Neo-Advaita is about talking about the concepts. Traditional Advaita is a systematic process that leads you through various stages to the direct recognition that this equals that. And the traditional Advaita Vedanta teachers I've connected with, and I've had the deep pleasure of connecting with a couple, they almost never say things like, this equals that. It's actually a very delicate, Advaita non-dual ideas are a very delicate thing. Neo-Advaita does not handle them. These ideas have power. And my view, and the view of traditional Advaita, is only a guru is qualified to instruct, lead, or guide another. Because these ideas have profound psychological, philosophical, epistemological, that means our sense of what's true and what's not true, ontological, our sense of ontological, our sense of what's real and what's not real, existential, our sense of what the meaning of life is. These ideas profoundly change those things. And that, because they're so powerful, that's why I very firmly say I'm not open to them from other people. I'm not open to people handing me prescription drugs. I go to a doctor when I feel the need for that. And I'm not open to people. I'm just literally not open to it. That's been part of my recovery process, to set the firmest boundary. I'm very grateful to the person who reached out. I hope you don't experience this talk as a personal attack towards you. I'm very grateful. I don't consider it a coincidence that this happened the morning of the support meeting. And by the way, Marian, I'm not sure if you saw that there's a support meeting today. So I'm going we're a Neo-Advaita recovery support meeting. So I'm going to post the link for my website, and you can, if you'd like the info, there's a little contact form that you can fill out to get that info, as can anyone else. And once again, I completely honor the person or anyone who thinks such thoughts or wants to share them. And you just need to find another place to share them, not to me and not in these meetings. Yeah, let's see if there's anything else I want to say. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. So one of the reasons I love Vishta Advaita is it's about integrating, finding that each, what do I want to say? It's about, Advaita Vedanta is about merging with the ocean. Vishta Advaita is about finding your role in the ocean. If the ocean is everything, then in Vishta Advaita, each drop of water has a specific function. And this is not just Vishta Advaita. This is straight out of the Bhagavad Gita. That and here's where it gets technical, and I don't want to get technical, but every jiva or atman, or you could say very simply, soul, has a very specific part and role to play in creation. That's called karma yoga, doing your duty. The Bhagavad Gita, which Advaita Vedanta is based on the idea of karma yoga. And, Neo-Advaita disrupts that. It disrupts our capacity, my capacity, and I've met many others, to participate in society and to participate in life. As Marian so beautifully said, to have a conversation. Whereas Vishta Advaita, or even traditional Advaita as well, is about is about living harmoniously. It's not about eradicating this equals that means the sense of separation, the sense of individuality is. And Neo-Advaita seeks to eradicate the sense of individuality. It's a deep topic. I don't want to go too much into it. Adi Shankara said, Brahman, the supreme, alone is real. The world is unreal. That's where most Neo-Advaita teachers stop. But he made 3 statements. So Neo-Advaita teaches God, supreme consciousness alone is real. The world is unreal. That's where Neo-Advaita stops. Traditional Advaita says, supreme consciousness, God alone is real. The world is unreal. The world is God, is supreme, is the supreme. So it's a very profound topic. It's a very holy, sacred topic. I'm not really qualified to elaborate on it. I could share all my thoughts and but the truth is I'm not a non-dual teacher. All I do is I point out the difference between Neo-Advaita and traditional Advaita and point them in the direction of traditional teachers. My concern with statements like this equals that and all sorts of things. It disregards so many things like individuality, like the personality. It'll say things like there is no person, which is absurd and untrue. Thank you, beautiful souls. Someone just dropped by, just finishing up. I wish everyone a beautiful, glorious day, and I hope to see some of you at the Neo-Advaita recovery meeting today. Take care, beautiful souls. Big love.